Coach Phill here. Hi, welcome here, Intelligent Performance International. Coach Phill, #1 high performance coach, where we help companies realign their teams, create high performance cultures so they can make more money, have a bigger impact, and make a difference in their industries. Today, we're going to talk about, in this video, the biggest time wasting activities for entrepreneurs. You know, one of the biggest, most important commodities you have right now is your time. And it has been discovered that there are things that waste a lot of your time as an entrepreneur, which take you away from being the best that you can be, which take you away from bringing your best A game. Okay, so here we go. I got 7 of them for you. #1, meetings. Meetings. For years, I've been talking about the fact that meetings are the biggest time wasters for entrepreneurs. I know a company where the chief operations officer spends 3 or 4 days of her week in meetings. Him or her, yeah, just in case I've given it away. But she spends more time in meetings than in doing the job, than in thinking strategy, than in doing what you have to do. Now, some people have said, yeah, coach, but maybe the business is based on meetings. Yes, make the meetings more productive. Make the meetings short. Make the meetings to the point. Make the meetings where it's about taking action. It's about doing what you have to do, okay? I say that any meeting, any kind of meeting that goes more than an hour, you're wasting time. Why? You're going to be discussing A or B. You're going to be discussing things that don't add value to you as a company, to your goals as you begin to move to where you need to go to, okay? So #1 things, cut out the meetings that are not important. Don't go to meetings where you're not needed, okay? There's certain people who just go for meetings. Oh, yeah, Monday morning meeting, even if they're not going to contribute, okay? So I'm saying, think about it. If you're not going to have an impact, if it's not going to help you to achieve your top 3 goals for the week, don't go for the meeting, okay? #2, time waster, and this is very, very crucial, unplanned phone calls in the workplace. Now, here we get a little bit sensitive. But I've noticed, okay, and I go to a lot of meetings, I go to a lot of places where you're talking to people and they get a phone call from a friend, or they get a phone call from a girlfriend, or from a wife, or from the son, or for whoever. Now, there's nothing wrong with phone calls, but this is the thing. Remember, every time you're concentrated on something, every time you're disturbed or you have to cut that concentration to take that unplanned phone call, that means that it is going to take you another 22 minutes before you can come back and get back in the zone. Now think about how many of those calls you get. Now, am I saying you stop being a person who takes phone calls? No, think about it. As an entrepreneur, you want to be great. You want to create something awesome. You got to be totally 110% focused on ensuring that nobody wastes your time, okay? Now, how do you know that a phone call is not a waste of time? This is it. If a person calls once, you send them to voicemail. Calls twice, you ignore. If they call a 3rd time, then you know this could be an emergency. Then you take it. Otherwise, you can talk to them at lunchtime, or you can talk to them in the evening when you're going back home, or whatever. Just take time to understand that when you're concentrating on building that goal, building that machine, building that enterprise, the best time you have is when you're concentrating. You can't afford to be, throwing your time away because somebody called, because they lack clarity in their life, and they're not doing much that day, so they decide you're the person they want to talk to, okay? You got to be very, very clear on not taking unplanned phone calls. Next, this is very, very interesting. Do not do the $100 jobs. What do I mean? You're an entrepreneur. You are supposed to be thinking big time. You're supposed to be thinking the $1 million questions, okay? What are you doing cleaning the forks or whatever? What are you doing filing? What are you doing typing a letter of appreciation to somebody? What are you doing the mundane jobs? What are you doing jobs that you could pay somebody else to do? Okay, what are you doing polishing shoes? Recently I caught myself, I was doing things that I don't have to do. Most importantly, I was getting frustrated. I was saying, oh, I don't have to be doing this, okay? And yet I pay somebody to do it. But I was so annoyed with them that I decided to do it, not knowing I was actually wasting a lot of time instead of focusing on my dream, focusing on what I got to do. So I want you to take some time and think, what are those $100 jobs, the things that you could get somebody else to do, so that you can concentrate on your dream, concentrate on bringing your best self. For me, it's about courses, it's about finding the best information. That is when I am doing my $1 million work, okay? It is not about doing, if I catch myself, polishing my shoes, there's a problem. Okay, if I catch myself that I've got to what? Do my own ironing. Now, there's nothing wrong with me doing my own ironing, but if I can get somebody else to do it so that I can be the best at what I do, there are people who are great at ironing. Let them do the ironing, okay? Don't do the $100 million jobs. No, sorry, don't do the $100 jobs because they're not what you're paid to do as an entrepreneur, as a business, okay? And next, you got to get out of, and this is a big time waster, out of the blame game. Okay, you as an entrepreneur, the buck starts and stops with you. Okay, this is what happens. You come into the workplace in the morning, and somebody didn't do something, or somebody messed up somewhere, and then what do you start? You begin to blame them. You begin to start talking about how bad they did and how how uncool they are, and so you end up wasting the whole day blaming something instead of saying, you know what, I'm taking responsibility. This shit happened. End of story. I'm moving on. I'm going to do something else about it. Entrepreneurship is about taking responsibility and doing what you have to do. Don't waste time blaming and thinking about what somebody did wrong, how they annoyed you, somebody crossed you off in the back. Forget about it. Traffic done. Get to your place, find your sweet spot and do what you have to do as an entrepreneur. Next point, in terms of the biggest time wasters, focusing on the competition. Okay, now don't get me wrong. Yes, you got to know what is happening out there. But if you continue to focus on the competition, if you continue to think, what is it? What are they doing? How do I need to suggest? How do I need to change? Then you don't come up with your own ideas. You don't open up yourself to becoming the kind of person who's thinking fresh ideas, who's asking, hey, how can I best serve my customers? How can I do what my customers are doing? I mean, how can I do what my customers want me to do? That only happens if you open yourself up to that. Instead of, what is the competition doing? Oh, what kind of business card do they have? What kind of videos are they having? Hey, everybody's going to shoot videos. It doesn't matter. What makes you unique is you focus on what you're good at, and that is what you bring to the market. Okay? Forget about focusing on the competition. Focus on your uniqueness. Focus on what you bring to the table. Focus on serving more, because the more you serve, the more you bring your best self, the more you think about innovation and finding a way to serve your customers, the better you're going to get. The more you're going to find customers who are appreciating. Boom, before you know it, you're elevating yourself to the next level. Why? You're focusing on service, innovation, and bringing value rather than focusing on the customer. That is just wasting time. Next, one of the greatest time wasters is when it comes to personnel, employing, firing, hiring. It has always been said, be very slow in hiring and be very fast in what? In firing. Why? You don't have time for people you don't have time to get people in, train them, and before you know it, after you've put in a lot of time, you realize they're not the right fit. Okay? Now, this is a tricky one again. Why? Because you're going to find situations where somebody comes in, they promise that they will do well, you do whatever you got to do, you put in the work, you train them, you do whatever it does, but then you don't give them a big enough reason to stay. Now, if you don't give them enough reason to stay, obviously they're going to leave. Guess what? That means you got to do it again. I'll give you a very good example. Right now, we're working with a big company, and their turnover is now approaching almost 6-7%. Okay? That is bad for this industry. Why? Because most of the people are quite technical. Most of the people are people who have, taken a lot of time to learn their craft. Why are these people leaving? Simple, because of an extra $5, $10, $15 payment. Can you imagine? 15, and the CEO is adamant we're not going to pay anymore. So I had to sit down with him and say, look, dude, you cannot afford to. Think about it. The time to train, the time to induct, the time to do all these things, these people become part of you. They become part of your family, and then they leave simply because you can pay $5 extra. Think about it, okay? It's just not worth it. So stop wasting time. Get the right people in. Have a robust way of employing them. Most importantly, give them what they deserve, and then you're good to go, okay? Next, social media notifications. Oh my God, this is big. This is big. It's amazing when you go to a restaurant, you sit around and you just look at how much people have lost the ability to just be with others. How much people have lost the ability to just converse. But even in offices, a person has their phone next to them, and the notifications keep coming. 41% of the biggest time wasting in industry right now is on Facebook. 41%. Why? People are wasting 41% of their time at work on Facebook. Hello? Yes, 23% on LinkedIn. How much are you taking away from the business? What are you doing right now in terms of ensuring that you're giving your best? Now, what is the best way to deal with this? Just freaking cut the notifications off. End of story. Okay? Just put the phone on silent. End of story. We have, we've talked about the 90-90 10 or 60, 60, 10, whichever it is, know that you have to concentrate for a certain amount of time. And in that time, no phone calls, nothing. Why? That is when you're paid to do your best. Okay? Facebook and social media is taking so much away from business. It's unbelievable. You as an entrepreneur, you need to step up and say, you know what? I got to do what I have to do. The amount of business, time that is wasted on just YouTube is amazing. It is amazing. So think about yourself as well as an entrepreneur. How often? Because you know what happens? You go onto somebody's page. Oh my God, he said this. And then before you know it, you begin scrolling. Before you know it, 30 minutes. Okay? How many of those 30 minutes are you doing during the day? Think about it. How much time you're spending. If you're an entrepreneur, you're paid $1,000 an hour. Think about it. How much are you wasting on social media? Finally, I'll give you 3 other bonuses. 1, cable TV. If you know more than 2 or 3 programs on cable TV and you're an entrepreneur, you're wasting time. You're wasting too much freaking time. Turn it off. I am lucky enough that for the last 10 years, I've not had a TV. I don't even know what goes on TV. Before in my younger days, I used to know, okay? Now, sometimes I'm with a couple guys and guys are saying, oh, guys, did you see this on football? Did you this? I don't know anymore. Why? I realize my time in the evening is for me to either think, spend with my family, and or put in time in the business, okay? Bonus point number 2, focusing on other people's wrong energy. What do I mean? You're always focusing on what is wrong with what is going on in your life rather than focusing on what is right. You focus on your weaknesses. You're focusing on where you're not showing up. You're focusing on what went wrong. That is time wasting. Turn around and focus on you and what you bring to the table. Turn around and say, am I doing the 3 most important things? 1, clarity of the mind. 2, energy. 3, doing what I have to do in terms of the work that I have to put in consistently. When you focus on those things and you're bold enough, then you don't have time to focus on the small things, okay? And finally, reading the wrong stuff, okay? If you're an entrepreneur and you know everything about Tintin and all these other, what is it? Those movies that have series and stuff like that. You know everything about those, but you don't know the latest research on high performance. You don't know the latest research on leadership. You don't know the latest research on marketing. Then you're reading the wrong stuff, okay? It is amazing where you find marketing experts who don't know what is going on in terms of Facebook pixels, for example. I have some of them who come, they're talking to me about stuff. They don't even know the latest stuff, but they're supposed to be the experts, okay? Reading the wrong stuff, you're just wasting time. You're just not doing what you have to do. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. As usual, those are your pointers in terms of how much you're wasting time. Most important, what to do about it, okay? Find the right literature, do what you have to do, and as usual, live strong, live with passion, and I'll see you on the other side of success.